This is the Forgiven Soldier radio show.
Strangers become your brothers. They got your six winners back against that wall. And you will never have another who cared for you when times got rough. That's a brother. For you when times got tough, that's a brother.
And now, your host, Brian Basham.
Hey, welcome in. This is Brian with the Forgiven Soldier radio show. I got a special guest. We've been friends for a couple years. I got a cool story. It might not be cool for him, but I got a cool story of how we met. But I got no other than Kentucky Wesleyan football's head coach, Tyrone Young Jr. How you doing, Ty?
Man, I'm good. I am alive. I am well. Blessed to be here.
That's it. Had a big week, homecoming week. I know it's stressful for everybody. I know radio station has a lot of stuff going on through the week, the alumni, but I know for the football team, I mean, you are the main show for homecoming. So how was that week for you?
It was good. A lot of fanfare, a lot of alumni relations type stuff, but we were able to stay focused and pull it out on Saturday and made everybody happy going home and coming home. But no, it was good. It was always fun to see how it grows every year, and it continues to grow every single year.
So you didn't go to KWC. So for you, like homecoming, when the alumni comes, like obviously you didn't go to school with them. You probably played against, I don't know if you played
a few
KWC.
Of them, yeah.
But to see, I know the first ever football team that was at KWC was here.
Team, yeah.
How was that? Like,
that was
just
pretty
to
cool.
see where
they were everything you talk about being a brotherhood as far as their memories of playing together. I got a chance to meet them, spend some time with them before the game while we were doing walkthroughs, and then they came to pregame meal with us and talked to the guys for a little bit. So that was pretty good. And then, some of the guys were able to get called out about their numbers and the numbers that the team wore. And so it was really fun. And, our foundation was built on the backs of those guys. So that was really special.
Now, are there a couple of guys that you, just from looking at them, could still play?
A few of them.
Yeah.
A few of them, I
saw a couple myself. I'm like, bro, 83?
Yeah, no, a few of them probably could. And then a few of them are probably happy that their playing days are over.
Yeah. And it was cool. Like the whole home, like I never went to a traditional college. It's always been online college.
Right.
So we didn't have like the homecoming king and queen and stuff to see your QB1 win it. You didn't see it, but I saw it. Have his dad out there. He was so pumped.
Yeah.
Did you see the video or anything?
I haven't seen the video.
So his dad walked out and they called his name, and he was just like, getting that crowd hyped.
I heard the crowd roar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the crowd roar, and it was crazy because
that was Christian's dad doing that. So
Christian won homecoming king, and then our DFO won homecoming queen. So
Claire.
It was a great night for football.
Too. Yes, it was. And just to see the stands packed, and like it was cool to see, because we had the seats like right by the stairs, and to see people walk up and look and be like, I guess we have to go to the other side.
Right.
Like KWC people had to go to the other side because the stands were full. So y'all did that. It was an exciting game.
Man, it was fun for us, and I'm glad that so many people have decided to come on out to Steele and support our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been really awesome. So I'm excited to see it keep growing.
So speaking of how we met, I'll tell the story since you probably want to forget it. But so I was I think it was a Friday after 5 event, and I saw Coach East walking, had no clue who he was. Didn't know he was a coach or anything. He just had KWC stuff all over him. So I just figured he was a coach, and I've always loved football and I wanted to be a part of it. So I stopped him and said, hey, I was like, I told him who I was and what I did. And I was like, I'd love to come meet the team and talk and get connected right through the church. And he was a little weirded out that I just stopped him, some random guy. But anyways, he invited me to come to the team and be a volunteer coach, which I wasn't really much of a coach, but I love hanging out with the guys and stuff. Right. But so you took over last year, and you kept my contract. I didn't get paid, but you kept my contract, and I appreciate that, because I got to feel a part of the team, even though I had a busy schedule and couldn't do it. So
you did have a busy schedule.
I appreciate it, and I know my daughter Avery enjoyed coming out there. She still talks about when we're going to go to practice.
That's my road dog.
So I might just drop her off for you and then head out. But
she'll be taken care of.
So growing up, where'd you grow up at?
A little bit of everywhere. I'm an Army brat. So we had a lot of different duty stations, but I always call Fort Knox home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Army has you pretty much everywhere.
How old are you?
I am 34.
34. So I was around that area, but I'm a little older than you. So, it was my stomping ground before your stomping ground. I don't know, man. My dad was at Fort Knox for about 15 years. So he was a drill sergeant.
You say Tyrone Young around Fort Knox. People know what you're talking about.
Yeah, now for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Back in the day, though, everybody hated my dad. He was a drill sergeant. So they respected but hated because they made him do stuff. But I remember as a kid, man, did you go on base a lot?
No, I lived on base, yeah.
Yeah. So we lived on Chaffee Avenue in those little, soldier houses or whatever. So, but I used to go to basic training with my dad all the time. And we'd have to go up this hill. It's like pain, agony, and defeat is what they called the hill. It was stupid, but my dad used to carry me on his shoulders up this hill. So I got a lot of cool memories of Fort Knox and Radcliffe and
Radcliffe. We call it cliffhanging if you're still there.
Yeah, and then E-Town. E-Town was like right there. So
nobody really likes E-Town.
They don't, but you got so much stuff to do there.
It is a lot of stuff to do, but nobody really likes E-Town. Like, it's nice though.
It is. That's where we do most of our Christmas shopping. But anyways, so you're from Fort Knox. That's where you started playing football at?
That is where it started at, man.
Yeah. I
love Fort Knox to death. So I will always call that place home. But that's where it started at. I think my dad gave me a football in the crib. So I just been watching him play football my whole life and then watched him coach football. And that's what I knew I wanted to do. So
when you started playing really competitive football, probably like middle school, early high school.
Little League was competitive. What you talking about?
Oh yeah, Little League. I'm sorry. I know Little League around here. I mean, it's competitive. I'm sorry
super competitive.
if I disrespected anybody about Little League football.
Right. Yeah.
But the question was, when you really started thinking about it, did you want to go pro, or was it always I want to be
No,
I know you had coaching in you.
My daddy told me in Little League I wasn't going to the NFL.
Your dad told you that?
Yeah, I was going to be short. It was short. I think I was in middle school when he told me that I wasn't going to the NFL. So I better enjoy while I can to get the most out of it. And
you see why I set the question up in middle school and high school, and then you had to come at me like that?
Little League, I knew.
Little League, everybody's short.
I knew I was shorter than everybody. No, I was taller than everybody, and then I stopped growing, and everybody kept growing. So it was pretty wild. But I was always faster than everybody. So I thought that was going to be my ticket. But, my dad kept it real with me so I can keep everything in perspective. Now, he didn't say I didn't have the capabilities of doing it, but just knew it was going to be a challenge. So he wanted me to be realistic and not be like the rest of my friends who didn't take school serious because they thought they were going to play in the pros.
So when he told you in the moment, when he told you that, was there a chip on your shoulder, I'm going to prove him wrong? Or did you just accept it and be like, he knows what he's talking about?
No, it was my dad. Dad, everything my dad said was gold to me. So I just knew that he told me to enjoy football while I had the opportunity to enjoy football. So that's what I was going to do and not look too far ahead and just be the best I was and with my friends and everything else. And then I was going to play in college. I knew I was going to do that because I wasn't going into the Army. It was either the Army or go to college, and I was not going to college. I was not going into the Army, so I had to figure out a way to get my college paid for.
Yeah. So you got a scholarship out of high school?
I did. Actually, I was a walk-on at KCU, and then I got the opportunity to earn my scholarship my second year there, and then I got my last 4 years of school paid for. So, yeah, I was pretty excited about that. School was pretty much free for me anyway because of the GI Bill and stuff like that. But when I got my scholarship, then my dad's GI Bill was able to go to something else. So
yeah,
I was pretty proud of myself of earning my own way through college.
Yeah, and I think, and I never got a scholarship. I'll say I joined the Army. I picked the Army route.
Yeah, you got a scholarship into the Army.
I got a free college because of that. But when you're playing football, like, was school a big thing for you? Like, did you like the actual schoolwork and just the friendships you get from school and the college life?
And we're talking about college. The gen ed classes I didn't necessarily like, but when I got into my my business, sports management, and youth ministry classes, I liked those a lot. That was the first time I actually enjoyed school in all the years of doing school. But no, I mean, school wasn't bad. I knew I had to pass classes to stay eligible, so
yeah,
that's what I did, and I made sure that I was never towing that line of not being eligible to play, because that would have crushed me. So I always did what I needed to do in the classroom, but I had some really good professors. My professors, Diane Cotto, Tim Nishon, and Dean Brand, those three, man, my business professors, though, they're everything to me. So, they saved my life a lot. So, I mean, I owe them a lot of my success that I have now is because of them.
Now, do they take play a part, like, in your everyday life now? Like, because you have how many kids that you look after on the football team?
127.
127. So you're sitting in their parents' living room saying, "Hey, I got them.
Yeah,
I got them. I got them."
I mean, I got them, and then I got them even when times are good. I got them when times are bad, or when parents are mad, and it takes a village to get them to the finish line, and that's where we try to get them to. So
for sure,
not every day is easy, and there's some days you're like, "What is going on?" But nonetheless, it's rewarding.
And they're still kids. Like, I mean, you have to realize
they tell them that, because they think
they're adults. They think they're
adults.
grown.
They think they know everything, and you're like, dude, just come on. Like,
you don't even know.
You have no idea. I'm grown. No, you're not.
They haven't even had life hit them in the face yet.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So other than football, because that has been your dream, your passion for probably as long as you can remember, I'm guessing, right?
No, I always wanted to be a truck driver.
Man, you're like stealing my questions. Did you know the question I was going to ask you?
No.
I was going to say, if there wasn't football, what else?
So my Uncle Odell, he was a truck driver, and I wanted to be a truck driver like my Uncle Odell because that's my dog. But then my grandma, when I was growing up, my grandma was sick all the time, so I wanted to be a doctor so I could take care of my grandma. But then when she passed, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And that was my junior year of high school. But my football coach, Coach Jaco, was the one that kind of talked me into the coaching thing. And because he's seen how passionate I was. My dad, actually, if you ask him, he to this day, he still think, not now because of where I'm at in my life. But when I went to college, he was mad at me for the longest because I was a better baseball player than I was a football player. And he was mad that I didn't go to school I didn't take one of the baseball scholarships. I chose to walk on and play football.
Really?
Yeah, because he was mad because he was like, I was going to gain weight and never get a weight off of me and blah, 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 blah. And, baseball save a little bit of my wear and tear on my body, keep me alive longer and everything else. And I had a brighter future in baseball, but I was hell-bent on playing football. So,
well, it's worked out so far.
That's what I did.
It's worked out so far.
Yeah. Always hindsight is what it is. And I had a few injuries in college. There was a couple times I was just like, dang, he was right, but I'm going to keep going.
I have a funny story. When I joined the Army, I called my dad. Our dad was a role model. Like, he was a soldier. Like, I didn't know I wanted to do that, but it came to the point where I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was like, well, let me try this. And I called him and I told him, I was like, hey, Dad, I'm going to join the Army. He's like, you should really join the Air Force. It'd be a lot easier on you. And I took it as a challenge.
Right,
so
telling you, yeah.
I went right in, signed him like, I want to leave as soon as possible. and I did it. I did it well. I did 7 years. I have a lot of cool stories about it, but wear and tear on the body, like you say, it would have been a lot easier if I joined the Air Force. So, hey, we're going to take a break. We're with Coach Young in the studio. You're listening to the Forgiven Soldier radio show on 90.3 WKWC.
John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends." Thank you for listening to the Forgiven Soldier radio show.
Veterans Empowered Together is a nonprofit 501c3 organization made up of veterans for veterans. We want to personally invite every veteran out to our Coffee with Veterans event every second Saturday of the month. If you have questions or want to get involved, our website is www.veteransempoweredtogether.com and our number is 270-852-6518. Find all the current events on our Facebook page as well, facebook.com/Veterans Empowered Together.
The Forgiven Soldier radio show. Christ offers forgiveness for everyone, everywhere.
All right, welcome back. We're with Tyrone Young Jr., the head coach for KWC, and that's just the tip of it. We're about to get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to get to know who Coach Young is, right? So playing football at college, you met a lady.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that. She don't get nearly the credit that she deserves, because I've seen her work and I've seen her juggle everything in life. So talk about how that went down. Did you have to try really hard, or was it kind of like at first sight, like, yeah, this is...
Well, it was first sight for me. Not so much of her. She thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
But now my wife, Shiloh, she does do a whole lot. She does a lot behind the scenes that sometimes I don't think people even realize nor know. But no, we met at college. I was already at school, and then she had transferred in from Indiana Wesleyan to Kentucky Christian. And I was actually at work for my work study job, and one of our friends, Megan, she was hanging out with Shiloh, and she got Shiloh out of the dorm to come down to the Life Center. The Life Center is where I was working at. And so down came Shiloh to the Life Center, and I seen her, and I was like, oh, my goodness gracious, who is that? And turns out we were in 3 classes together. I ain't paying no attention, because when football players, we had to come into class in the first 2 rows and pay attention in class and then leave class. That's what I did. I was never like a problem child in class. I just kind of minded my own business and had my headphones on and kind of, bebop to my own little tune and talk to my teammates. But I wasn't trying to press up on too many females on campus. I was just minding my business.
Yeah.
But then after she told me we were in class, and I mess with her to this day that she noticed me first, obviously, because she knew we were in class together, and I had no idea that we were in class together.
Never turned around, did you?
I know.
Yeah.
I was not about to get in trouble in class, because you got in trouble in class, and you got to go see Coach Moore, Coach Costello, and them dudes, and I was not going for that. So I was able to finesse her into being my partner for a group project, and I don't think I did anything with the project. She did it all, but I got to know her throughout that. So, we just continued to hang out after we were done with the project. And I was September 19th, actually, I sent her a Facebook relationship request, and that's how I asked her out. And to this day, we've been kicking it. You asked her out
through Facebook?
I did.
Awesome.
September 19th, 2009. And we've been kicking it ever since.
So her first vision of you was lazy and didn't do anything on the project.
No, well, it was actually a weirdo that listened to his music and was just loud and rambunctious. But that's what, if you ask her, she thought I was weird when she first met me, and because she didn't know me, I just was hanging out all the time, minding my own business, had my music on, and I had the big earphones. Yeah. So I was not hearing too much of anything. How's
your hearing now?
How's my hearing now? See, there
exactly.
You go, right there. So, but no, that's my better half.
Yeah, she and real cool. Like, to talk to her, and I know her and my wife. They have conversations for the girls and stuff. So, what was her thoughts about when you told her did you tell her you wanted to be a coach, or did you just kind of fall into?
No, she knew what I wanted to do when we first got together. Because we used to sit down and on benches and things like that and talk about our lives and what we wanted it to be and how I hoped I'd be in this position that I am now, and all the things I wanted to be able to provide for her. And so she knew exactly what she was getting into, not exactly as far as like how crazy this life is, but she knew what I wanted to do. And she was 100% supportive, always is supportive, and
awesome,
praying for me all the time. And she still journals to this day. And so it was funny because, she's everything she's prayed about, everything she's prayed, and thought about is coming to fruition in my life, for our life. So yeah, she's my rock.
She wrote a journal this whole time.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a book.
Yeah.
There's going to be a movie.
She probably could be a movie writer.
Can I play you in the movie?
Yeah, you
Is
might
that
have
a
to go to
thing?
Tenement a few times.
I mean, we're not that different. So that's cool. So where did you start your coaching at?
I actually started at North Hardin High School. Crad Draggers gave me the opportunity, RP Crad, gave me the opportunity to do some coaching while I was still in college. And so I was coaching down there at North, and then I was coaching at East Carter High School while I was still playing with Coach Moore. And then after I finished that, I coached at East Carter again. Then I started in college at KCU. So I did 3 years of high school while I was in college.
Okay.
And then started coaching at KCU. Then I left KCU and went to Pennsylvania. Lived up in Pennsylvania for.
Was that your first paid gig as a coach, or was
Pennsylvania was?
Pennsylvania was, yeah.
And I went up there for like five or so years, which was completely different from what I'm accustomed to being a Kentucky kid. Bounced around up there. I was at King's College for a while. Then I went to Lock Haven for a season, Lock Haven University. Left Lock Haven University, went to Anderson University in Anderson, Indiana. Then I got the call to come here, and I've been here for the last 5 years.
Yeah. And
Loving life.
It's been amazing. I mean, just in the community alone, like people know who you are. People enjoy your presence, and your character goes unnoticed as well. Especially in the church. I mean, we have some mutual friends that we know that you may not know. I think we talked about one of them, Stephen Clark, and I mean he loves you.
That was the biggest thing for me, is just, be the man my dad raised me to be.
Yeah.
And just allow people to see the authentic version of myself. Not try to put on a facade.
Yeah.
Don't have time to be two different people. So at the end of the day, it was just, try to be yourself all the time, and try to be somebody that is respectful, and make sure that, when people talk about you, if somebody starts talking about you crazy, other people have a really hard time believing that, because they know who the man that you are.
Exactly.
And the man that, the man that you are here.
Leave no question.
Right. The man that you are here be the same guy over here. And so, when people start talking about you, oh yeah, well, I know him and everything else. And so that's who I try to be all the time, even behind closed doors, open doors, around the door. Doesn't matter. I'm just authentically myself.
That's
I try
it.
to be. That way I know when I lay down at night, I can feel proud of the work that I put in on a daily basis. So, yeah.
So as a kid, did you move around a lot?
Man, did we ever.
So you have a special gift that not everybody has.
Yeah, the ability to meet new people all the time. Yep.
And you got to get it the only way that you got it.
Man.
Is put you in that situation
From
and be
Germany
like, go meet some friends.
To Korea, to California, to Atlanta, Georgia, to Fort Knox, to Fort Hood in Texas. We just moved all over the place.
Yeah.
And so in the Army, it sucks because I envy these people that grew up in these small towns and been friends since they were in elementary school. I don't even know, I have friends that, my boys just came to this game with me and they were on the sideline, and my two best friends from high school, Anthony Bailey and Josh Cruz. And we've been friends, man, since 2002. So we've been friends for over 20 years, and those are my boys, my bros. And there's people been friends with people for way longer.
Yeah.
And I know how I feel about those two. If they call me right now, I'll leave this interview and I'll go wherever they needed me to go to.
Yeah, I would expect you to, yeah.
Because those are my best friends.
Please don't call.
And at the end of the day, man, it's just, that Army life teaches you so much, because you got to go out and make friends, or, it's going to be a really lonely situation.
Yeah.
You got to be able to talk to people. And I didn't realize until I went to college. I went to college in Eastern Kentucky, and Eastern Kentucky is not very diverse at the time. When I went out there in the early 2000s, it was not very diverse. And I think, all the black people in Grayson, Kentucky were all on the football team in 2007. So
Brett County too.
Yeah, it was earth shattering for them. But to be honest with you, I didn't even know it. My dad told me on my recruiting visit out there about how the real world is. Because on base, you got every race possible.
Every race, yeah.
And so that's all I've ever known. And I didn't know people were like racist. I knew about stories, but I personally never experienced that because of the Army. And everybody was all inclusive with all that. So at the end of the day, when I first went out to Grayson, Kentucky, it was one of those deals to where I had to put myself in a situation to where I was like, oh, man. So, and like, for lack of better words, and, this interview is one of those deals to where the world was so, like, I was in a bubble from the Army. But no, you have to go out and be able to meet new people. You got to go out and do things and have new adventures. So, yeah, no, the Army taught me to be exactly who I am right now. And that's being able to meet new folks and be able to have relationships with new folks. And so, yeah. Yeah.
And that's the same thing, like growing up. I mean, we kind of grew up the same, like the same situation and stuff. So like, I never got the thing about people not getting along with people because of
it's so foreign.
They're different. Yeah. So when I went to a bunch of schools. So like Hancock County, Brett County, there wasn't too many black people there.
Right.
I mean, there just wasn't. And it was just, everybody in that lived there. So when I joined the military, like we have what's called battle buddies, and it's a person that stays with you the whole time through basic training. So, to keep accountability. So my battle buddy was a Puerto Rican kid that didn't speak English, and I'm from Kentucky, and I'm like, this ain't gonna work.
You're from Hancock, Brett County.
I'm from the country, and not that I didn't get. I love the dude to this day. Is Ramos, that he had two last names, so I called him by his two last names. But like I love this dude,
right? So
for me, I don't know. I still don't get it. And raising kids, like they don't get it either because we put them in a situation like people are people, like just love people.
Exactly. And that's the way of course my daughter is mixed, but at the end of the day, that's the same way I teach her, is to make sure that we understand that everybody is a child of God. So treat them like such.
Yep, that's it. One of my best friends is from Long Beach, California, and he was in a gang. So he used to tell stories and stuff, and I always thought it was intriguing. I love to hear stories from him, and then I tell him stories about my gang in the country. I didn't have a gang in the country, but he came out to Kentucky. He said he won't ever come back again. But
dang,
he just don't like. He's different, right? He's that different mind frame, but he does not like Kentucky whatsoever.
That's crazy
because it's not California. But I still love him the same. Shout out to Yoakum. I'll send it to him. But all right, we're gonna take another break. We're gonna come back. A little bit more interview with Coach Young. You're listening to the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show on 90.3 WKWC. You're listening to WKWC 90.3. I'm Brian Basham, host of the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. I want to thank Randy Lanham and Volunteer Owensboro for supporting my show in WKWC. They're hosting John Lanham Day on Saturday, October 28th from 10 to 4 at Yellow Creek Park. In the Pioneer Village, they will be attempting to set the world record for the largest bluegrass band. If you have a voice and an instrument and can play a G chord, you can be part of it and make history. Barry Lanham and the Foot Stomping Express Cloggers will be there, plus Kings Highway, the Bluegrass Brothers, and Shrimp and Grits. Man, that's just fun to say, y'all. Donations from the event go to Crossroads, My Sister's Keeper, and the St. Benedict's Day Shelter. Thank you, Randy Lanham and Volunteer Owensboro, for supporting WKWC and the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show, airing Saturdays at noon and 7 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. right here on 90.3 FM and on the WKWC Panther Radio app.
Nehemiah 8:10. The joy of the Lord is my strength. This is the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show.
All right, welcome back. We're still in the studio with Coach Young from Kentucky Wesleyan football. So we talked about kind of the homecoming week, kind of took it off for us, and then kind of where you came from, how you and Shiloh met. So now I want to talk about the future, like where do you see this program going? What's the groundwork that you're doing now? What is that going to look like in 1, 2, 3 years?
Hopefully a lot of more wins.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the groundwork we're laying now, I think it's going to make us into a prominent name in the GMAC in football. I think it's going to have us in contention to win the GMAC championship every year. But it's gonna have, our campus growing. I hope that it grows our campus enrollment, because everybody wants to come to where a football team is winning. Mm-hmm. It just positively impacts the campus. I hope that it keeps, the morale on campus high. But at the end of the day, man, I just want to see a lot of our guys graduate. If they come to learn who the Lord is through our program, that's one of the things that I hope. But no, I think there's a lot of positive things that are going to happen from this. I don't do the forward thinking like my wife does, and she gets mad at me about it all the time. But it's kind of, I like to live in the moment now. But I do think this is going to set us up for a lot of long-term success.
Yeah, they call it, your poster board of your future, right? Mm-hmm. You fill your poster board up, and then that allows you to live in the moment, but still look at that poster board, but like, I'm doing this now for that kind of thing. So and you might not have this number off the top of your head here, but like when you're a head coach of a football team, like people look at the wins, right? How many wins have you won? Some coaches, they like, I only know my losses and all this stuff. But there's another number that I know is close to your heart and is close to the campus and everything. But in the recent years, you've had football players come to Christ and give their life up for Jesus. Do you know how many football players that you have on the team that got saved within just the last couple of years? Man,
we have quite a bit. Yeah. It's growing. We've had one this year so far, and that is huge to see Nate be able to, make that ultimate sacrifice and give his life to the Lord. And it was awesome to see, because his relationship grew, and he said through the culture of what we're building. So that's all I've ever wanted. Yeah. But right now, man, our Bible study group is pretty big for the football team. And there's a lot of guys on our team that are saved, and a lot of guys on our team that are willing to profess the good news to other people on our football team. And so it's one of the things for us. We're not shy about the conversation within our walls of the football team. And we're not shy, we're not shy of one another with the things we do or don't know or don't understand and want to understand. Yeah. So it's just seeing them grow, seeing them be curious. There's a certain group chat on our team that we send Bible scriptures. We do different Bible readings every single night. And so it's really, really nice to be able to be in an environment to where that is accepted, because it's not accepted in every environment. That's right. And being able to be at KWC allows me to do that, allows me to be exactly who I am, who God called me to be. And it allows us as Christians to be able to walk in an unashamed light, as we should all the time. But sometimes the world tells us otherwise. Yeah. And being on this campus and being able to be so involved in our churches is huge for our program. And being spotlighted in your churches because of it. So not only do you go into people's house and you talk to their parents and say, let me take your kid and let me make this boy a man. Let me make him a better football player. But you're also saying, let me make him a disciple as well of Jesus Christ. And you're going to have some parents that be like, nah, we don't want that, and that's their cross to bear, but to be honest, not saying that I only recruit Christians, but I don't hide who I am. And so when you come into our program, I'll tell you up front, we're going to talk about God. Yeah, you're going to learn who Jesus is. And it's not so much of I'm forcing it on you, but it's just how I walk and how I live my life. And I have those conversations. We pray daily. And whether you believe in the Lord or not, still out of respect, I think our guys respect. The ones that are still confused, or even if you don't believe, we have enough respect for one another to be able to understand that that's important to me. Yeah. So I'm important to them. And so they participate. So our team is actually a brotherhood now, and it's growing. It's growing every single day. So. Yeah. And, I'm just grateful to had a part in it last year. And even when I walk on the field and in the homecoming, I got to interview you while you run off the field, and just seeing the players, they still dab me up and ask me how I'm doing and everything.
Derek's just walking through right here. I'm gonna get him in here on the show, but I don't know. I just feel respect, and I had little to do with anything, but just being here, it's been a blessing. So I appreciate you not kicking me out of practices and stuff.
Nah, man, that's not who
There was one time, and I can't remember who said something to me. We're in one of your meetings. I think it was a quarterback meeting, and we were talking about the quarterbacks, and I said something, and you kind of, you're cool with it, and said, okay, yeah. And then afterwards, they're like, yeah, you don't talk in this meeting. I was like, noted. I got it, but I had an opinion. So talking about football and everything. So this show, we've had a bunch of music guests on and kind of telling their origin story and where they come from and how music, for me, music is a therapy, and that's how I go about it. So, and I know you love music.
Correct.
So what kind of music do you listen to? And I know there's certain kinds for different moods and different settings and stuff, but what's like your go-to feel good, like that get you going through the day?
Country music.
What?
Yeah, I listen to country music pretty much all day.
Who's your favorite artist
right now?
Yeah.
I mean, people always say, pop country is never really country. I'm a big Morgan Wallen fan right now.
I like Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, I'm a big Morgan Wallen.
He's an amazing songwriter.
Man,
people take it like he writes. I know Hardy writes a lot of his stuff, but he's in the room and he writes a lot of stuff.
Right.
To me, that's what makes an artist.
Right.
An artist.
I mean,
Taylor Swift, hands down, is one of the best artists.
Man,
she writes everything.
She's unbelievable.
She is.
I've said that for years.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been too many Taylor Swift songs that I haven't liked.
Yeah. And I mean, there's some that don't or whatever, but
they're true.
But most of them
are really good and if you listen to what she's talking about, it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was a big Taylor hater.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like when she first came out, because I was like, oh, it's just, she's changing country and all this stuff, until I went to a concert. My cousin was her artist or her makeup artist. Mm-hmm. So we got some tickets in Sacramento, California, and I went to it. I became a fan. I was like, this girl is amazing.
Yeah. And so, and have
you been to a show?
Yeah. Huh?
Have you been to a show? Taylor show?
No.
You need to go.
Any given day, you'll probably hear me listen to Morgan Wallen, Post Malone, Dan and Shay. I listen to Dan and Shay a lot, actually. Yeah, man, I'm a mellow fellow, so you never know. Khalid, you never know who when you walk into my office, but it's always something smooth, rather. Yeah. And then pregame music, The Enter Sandman was my doing. Mm-hmm. So I like a little Metallica, a little AC/DC before the game. My little rock music gets me going. A little Disturbed. So yeah, man. And then if I'm really in a really good mood, I do like Hillsong United. So that, my playlist is all over the place. Yeah. So you never know. I'm like, you could turn radio on, I probably would know the song. But I love music. Music is what gets me through. Music is actually the worship. Music worship is what drew me into church. So at the end of the day, it was one of those deals to where that's what got me going into church. Have you heard my song? No. It's been out for 2 years. The one that you sent to me? No, the one I wrote 2 years ago. The one you sent to me. Did I send it to you? Yes. No. Oh, yeah. But you haven't heard it. So I did listen to what you sent to me. It's all right. I'm just kidding. Anyways, so we're talking about music and Hillsong, and worship music is, so for the longest time, when I was in Iraq, I listened to I Can Only Imagine by Mercy Me. Mm-hmm. And that was the only Christian song I listened to for years until I started going to church, and they asked me to play in the worship band, and then I had to learn all these songs. And I don't know, it just turned out like I like the music, I like playing it, and it's kind of like country a little bit, where I make it sound country anyways. And then when I met my wife and we started singing together, it was like, okay, this is what we're to do. But therapeutic wise, like I think it helps even with the, I know what I was going to say. So when y'all score a touchdown, they play a song in the stadium. It's a party. Mm-hmm.
And that place, I don't know if you turned around during that time, but the stands and the people in there, I mean, they were jumping and dancing. It was a whole vibe.
Man.
And it was like, it was crazy. It seemed so loud. The song was so loud.
It was very loud.
And
at the end of the game,
all the players were dancing on the sidelines and the people on the field. It was just a cool scene. I hope somebody got a video of it or a picture or something. But that's what I was going to say. It's a Party was like, I've heard the song before and it's like, oh yeah, cool. It's a cool song, you know, but when you put it in to a context, scene and it's like, yeah, it was a party. It was a party for sure. And I think it was when, it was at the end of the game when Christian hit that slant, and I mean, people went nuts.
Yeah, it was a party.
Everybody thought he was running. Everybody in the stands thought he was running it. And there's two guys standing right next to me. I'm like, he's gonna pass it because they think he's running it. I was like, and I was telling him, see, this is where the coaching comes in. I was like, he's singled up on the left, like that's a slant all day. And the guy's like, no, he's gonna run it in. He's gonna run it in, and he hit the slant, and it was a pretty cool moment for me. But yeah, so football team is going good. 3 wins in a row so far. Where are you going?
We're going to Findlay this week.
Findlay. And Findlay's always tough.
Yeah, they're a really good team. Really good team.
And then you're back home again.
First time some more. Yeah. So I'm looking excited for the next 2, but got to go get the next one.
Yeah. So is there anything... So coming into the community and with the football team and getting to know the community a little bit, what about Owensboro, the city, do you like and that you cherish?
Just the feel of it. I mean, there's a lot of good people here in Owensboro. So at the end of the day, it's a really good place to raise a family and have a family. And so it's just everybody in Owensboro just welcomes you in like you've been here for forever and they've known you for forever. And they just love on you like you're one of their own. So that was one of the things that drew us in. And then for my wife, you know, she's always shopping at Aldi. So as long as we had Aldi, she was going to be fine. But our church down at Legacy, I love our church because they embody what like Owensboro is, just being able to wrap their arms around you and bring you in close and love on you just like one of their own. So just the people of Owensboro are awesome.
Awesome. Well, Owensboro is lucky to have your family as well. And I see big things in the future.
Appreciate it.
Of the youngs, you know, even the kids growing up. Hopefully you're here that long and you're here for 30, 40 years. So
I wouldn't mind it.
I appreciate you coming on the show.
Appreciate you, my brother.
Hopefully you had fun.
Time to go have some staff meetings.
That's it. Any last words?
No. Keep listening to the Forgiven Soldier radio show.
That's it. God bless.
You've been listening to my dad on the Forgiven Soldier radio show. The Forgiven Soldier radio show is a broadcast service of Veterans Empowered Together and 90.3 WKWC.